Okay, so we are doing evaluating algebraic expressions. We're still dealing a lot with PEMDAS. So this is still your best friend. The first couple are simple. You could type them in your calculator, the first two. But we're going to do them by hand. Technically, when you get to the practice, can you type them in the calculator? Yes, I don't mind. Okay, 2 to the third power. What does 2 to the third power mean? Yeah, does it mean 2 times 3? No, so is the answer 6? No. Okay, thank you. So 2 times 2 times 2. Y'all are right. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. Now, what about 3 to the first power? It's just 3. Isn't that just 3 one time? Well, there's 3 one time, and it's just 3. Okay, now look at number 3. Now, this one, you can't do in the calculator completely. You still could, and I'll show you what I'm saying in a second. If you typed it like this in your calculator, it's going to give you a decimal. Okay, and because I'm not letting y'all use the graphing calculators yet, and this is why, because I want y'all to know how to do some things. So I'm going to show y'all in a second how you could do it in the calculator, but I'm also going to talk about it by hand. So 1/2 4 times. Y'all, what's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1? 1. That's easy. Okay, here 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. And what's 4 times 4? So this is what we get. Everybody okay with that? Pretty simple. How you could do it in the calculator is I want you to realize this is technically 1 to the 4th power and 2 to the 4th power. Do y'all remember the rules of exponents? It's been a while. But I don't remember if you go over them in Algebra 2, but I know you learned them in Algebra 1, but it's been a while. So 1 to the 4th power is just 1, so that's the top of the fraction. 2 to the 4th power is 16. So you could still do it in the calculator, just not as a whole. Does that make sense? Okay. So if you do the fractions in the calculator, you have to break them up. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, so what about number 4? Yeah, we have to do the exponent first because when we follow PEMDAS, parentheses, there are none, E for exponent, multiply, divide, add, subtract. So we don't do multiplication until after we get rid of exponents. So we have to get rid of this first. So this is like almost in parentheses, meaning do it first. So what is 3 squared?
9.
And what's 4 times 9?
36.
Pretty simple, yes?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, these 4 take it up a notch, but they're not terrible. Okay, so remember, square brackets are just another form of parentheses. So these are just parentheses. Okay, when both of them are in parentheses, you have to simplify both before you can combine them, right? Because that's what P stands for, is parentheses, meaning you have to simplify the inside of that before you can do anything outside of it. So what do I need to do first on the inside of this parentheses? The exponent. So here's my question. What kind of 2 is that? A -2. And I can't say it's minus because there's nothing in front of it. And what's -2 squared? Is it -4 or +4? It's +4 because 2 negatives makes a. Now I'm going to show you something. If you do this in your calculator without parentheses, it's going to tell you it's negative. And the reason being is your calculator thinks as negatives as multiplication. So it does the exponent and then it multiplies. Yes? I feel like at this point in life we should have smarter calculators, but we don't. So you have to type it in parentheses. Does that make sense? So anytime you have exponents with a negative, please, please, please use your parentheses. Yes? Cool. So this gives me 4. And what happens here? Yeah, did any of y'all learn broken plus signs?
Yes.
I think last period we learned like lie-by. Did y'all go to lie-by? Lie-by learned that. Other junior highs did not. So this is a broken plus sign. There's only one term, and it looks, doesn't this look like a broken plus sign? Yeah, so that's why they call it that. But when there's multiple terms, you can't do that, but there's only one. Or if you distributed, two negatives makes a positive. So it doesn't matter which way you think of that, it's still going to end up being plus. What's 4 plus 3? 7. So I'm going to bring that over here. And now that parentheses simplified, I have to simplify the other side. Now, what do you think we do first on this side? Is it squared or cubed? Cubed. Okay, what I want to show you again, if we use parentheses, what do you notice? It stayed negative. When you have an odd exponent and it's negative, it's going to stay negative. Okay? When you have an even exponent, it will always turn positive because, think of it, negative times a negative is a positive. So every time you have an even exponent, those negatives cancel each other. But when you have an odd, negative, negative cancels, then you multiply another negative, it turns negative again. Does that make sense? So that's why they stay negative. Now, what is the square root of 64? And what's 8 minus 8?
0.
So what's 7 times 0? Now that they're both simplified, I can multiply. So my answer is 0. Okay, this next one is not anybody's favorite, but it is what it is. When you have a fraction, you're almost treating the top and the bottom like they're in parentheses. Before you can divide, because fractions mean divide, right? Before you can divide the top by the bottom, you have to have the top simplified and the bottom simplified. You cannot combine them until they are simplified, yes? So it's almost like saying the top's in parentheses and the bottom's in parentheses, yes? Now, I look at this and it's overwhelming, so I'm going to break it up. I'm going to only look at the bottom first. Okay? I'm going to think of it one piece at a time. And I'm going to follow PEMDAS. There are parentheses, but nothing inside that parentheses simplifies. Are there any exponents? No. Multiplication or division? Yeah, there's division. What's negative 6 divided by 2? Negative 3, right? So then I can bring this down negative 5. And what does this become right here? Plus 3. So here's my denominator. Now what do I do to simplify that? Yeah, what's 3 minus 3? 0. That zeroes out. And what's left? So I know my denominator is negative 5. So I came down here and I put negative 5. So the bottom's done. That wasn't that bad because we were only looking at one piece. Now let's just look at the top. Do I have any parentheses? No. Do I have any exponents? No. So I'm doing multiplication and division. Now, when you have multiple multiplication and division and they're all in a row, you're going to work it left to right like a book. Yes? Okay, so knowing that, we have 20 divided by 5. What's 20 divided by 5? And now I'm going to bring down the rest. Times 4 divided by 4 minus 8. What's 4 times 4?
16.
What's 16 divided by 4? And I just keep bringing down that minus 8 because I haven't done anything with it yet, right? What's 4 minus 8? So I'm almost done. What's the only problem? They're both negative. 2 negatives makes a? There's your answer. So when you're working those problems that look like that, take them one piece at a time. Do not look at it as a whole. That looks nasty. Yes? It's overwhelming. But if you break it up and do one thing at a time, it's really not that bad. Yes? Cool. And some of y'all can do, okay, 20 divided by 5 is 4 times 4, 16 divided by 4 is 4, right? I hesitated, but you get me. Okay, y'all can do that math in your head, and that's fine, but still take it one piece at a time. Yes? Cool. Okay, this one. What would you do? So you want to turn it into improper fractions. Okay, that's one thing you can do. So when it comes to proper fractions and improper fractions, there's multiple ways to do it. Most everybody today has been most comfortable with turning it into an improper fraction. Do y'all remember how we did that the other day? The C, right? So multiply here, add here. What's 2 times 4? Plus 1. So this becomes 9 over 2. I'm going to bring down my minus. And what's 4 times 6? Plus 3. Now, can I combine those right away? Why not? It doesn't have to be simplified. The denominators are different. So we can't simplify. If we could simplify this side in half, then you would be right. Yes, we could cut them in half and we could combine. But 27 doesn't simplify with 4. So this side doesn't simplify. So can we unsimplify this side? How can we turn 2 into 4?
Yeah.
By multiplying by what?
2.
So whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. And I'm going to rewrite this, and I get 18 over 4 minus 27 over 4. Now is it simple? Yeah. What's my denominator? 4. And what's 18 minus 27?
9.
What kind of 9?
Negative.
Negative 9. Now, if you left it like this and it's not multiple choice, I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me. I don't like proper fractions, so I'm okay with that. What if it was multiple choice, though? How would you turn that to a proper fraction? Well, I know it's going to be negative. How many times does 4 go into 9?
2.
Yeah, 4, 8. Well, if 3 would be 12, and that's not 12, so we can't do that. So it's 2, and that's with 8. So how many is remaining to get to 9? So that's what it would be proper. Now, I'm okay with you leaving it improper, but I'm just showing you if it was ever multiple choice, that's what you could do. Okay, so look at the next one. This one's super simple. Why? Why is it simple?
They both have the same denominator.
Yeah, they're already a common denominator. What's the only thing we have to do before we can combine? We need to make it a plus sign. So you can say broken plus sign and make it a big old plus sign. You could say distribute, 2 negatives makes a positive. However you want to think about it, make it a plus sign. Yes? My denominator's already matched, so it's 5. And what's 8 plus 2? 10. What's 10 divided by 5?
2.
There's your answer. Thank you. Any questions with those? Okay, these are simple. We're substituting, not like Algebra 2 substitution where you're solving, but just plugging in to simplify. Yes? Okay, so it tells me evaluate these with the given x value. So 2x to the third power when x is 5. So if I know x is 5, can I just rewrite it where x is 5? And then is it just like number 1 through 8? Or really even just like 1 through 4 or whatever? What's 5 cubed? Because that's what I do first before I multiply. I don't expect y'all to know these by yourself. What is it? No. 125. Girl. And what's 2 times 125? 250. Okay, so same concept. 9 over what?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. And every time you plug in, I want y'all to use parentheses. Especially with negatives. So what's negative 3 squared? Positive 9 or negative 9?
Positive.
Positive, because 2 negatives makes a...
Positive.
And what's 9 divided by 9? 1. Any questions with that? Simple. Okay, so the next two are the same. They just have more. They're polynomials because there's more than one term. Those were single terms. These are multiple terms. Do we treat it any different? No. So 2 times what? What's p?
-4.
-4. Minus 7 times q. What's q?
8.
Plus, what's r squared?
-10.
What do I do first?
No.
The squared.
Squared, yeah.
Yeah. And what's -10 squared? No. 10 times 10.
100.
Because the negative cancels. Okay, now what can I simplify next?
-7 times
Yeah, the multiplication. What's -7 times 8?
8.
-56. What else can I simplify? 2 times -4? Which is what? And last but not least, what do I do? Add and subtract. Can you literally just type this whole thing in your calculator? And what do we get?
36.
Do y'all know how to do numbers other than squared in these calculators? It's this little carrot top thing here. So you do like 8 to the 5th power. Yes? So you can type any power just with this little thing. Cool. Okay, number 2 on that section. What's going to be on top?
3.
Times
8.
over what?
3 minus 4.
Not -4. Times -4. Remember, it's multiplying because there's no symbol. And that's why it's super important to use parentheses, because if we didn't use parentheses, wouldn't that look like 3 minus 4? Yeah. Minus 2 times what? Cool. So again, fractions, simplify the whole top, simplify the whole bottom, and then combine. So what's 3 times 8? What do I do on the bottom to simplify that? What am I going to do first? But by doing what first? Yeah, and what's 3 times -4? -12. Now what? What do I do next?
Multiply -2.
And what's that give me?
+20.
And what does that give me simplified? +8. So simplify 24 over 8. 3. Almost done, y'all. 2 more. And they're going to be your favorite. Are you ready? Word problems. No? Okay. It was sarcasm. You couldn't tell. I don't like word problems either, but here we are. They're really not that bad. So there's that. So if you're like me and you hate to read, I used a bigger font, so it's really not that many words. Okay, I was kind. How many square feet? What does that mean? What are we looking for? Area. Okay, so it says the Smith family put a rectangle garden in. So we're finding the area of a rectangle. How do you find area of a rectangle? Yeah, length times width. Now we really don't use x. I don't know why I did that. Length times width. Okay. And then it tells me my length and my width. Now, it gave me fractions. I really don't want to multiply fractions. Do I need to? How do I know I don't need to? Yeah, look at my answer choices. They're all in decimal form. So do I need to worry about fractions? No, because my answers are in decimal form. So let's do decimals. So knowing that, how do I turn fractions into decimals? So we're going to divide them. So top number divided by bottom number will tell you what decimal place is. So that gives me 0.75. So this is 15.75. Does that make sense? So what does 1/8 become? 13 and 1/8 becomes what? Top number divided by bottom. Somebody do it. 0.125. So how do I find area? Multiply them. 15.75. And I know it says to estimate it, but you really don't need to. So times 13.125. And what's my answer?
C.
C. Now, why is it 0.72 and not 71? Yeah, because that 8 behind the 1, you're exactly right. Always look at the number after. If it's 5 or bigger, you have to round that number up. Yes? Okay. Any questions there? Okay, so last one. Mr. Sears bought some appliances for his new house. So he paid this much money for a fridge and this much money for a washer and dryer. And he wants to pay it off in 6 equal monthly payments. Can we figure that out? So how would I figure that out? I'm going to divide, but what do I have to do before I divide? I'm going to add the two costs together because he bought them together. So 894.99 plus 1205.95. Right? And don't let them fool you. It is hard to find stuff that cheap. Press enter. And we get 2,194 cents. And how many payments does he want to make? 6. So what do I do here? Divide by 6. Now, this is the cool thing about calculators is you can literally just click divide and it'll take that answer that was just on the screen. Divide 6. And what do I get?
350.
0.15 or 1.6?
1.6.
So B is your answer.